Hey, how are we doing? It is the live show. Give me just a minute. I literally just sat down in the chair just a couple minutes ago. It's been a real busy day. I've been pretty much running nonstop since about 6:20 this morning. YouTube's running really slow on my end, so hopefully everybody can hear everything. Hopefully everything looks okay. Again, it's running really screwy on my side here. Not sure what the issue is, but I had to reload it a couple of times to get it to come back. Hang on just a second here. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Hopefully everybody's going okay. It's been a real busy week here for us. I've had a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff dealing... Hang on, I'm sorry. I'm sure you're double echoing that here. Let me just kill that off. Sorry about that. One thing I did forget to do was kill that. Again, when you come in the last second, that does happen. I'm sorry about that. See, we got a few folks in already. Usually I send out a notice first thing, and I didn't even get a chance to do that. We got the folks that come on just enough to leave a thumbs down. That's always great, too. I have them on every video, so I don't know why people would waste their time coming here just to hit that thumbs down, but that's apparently what people think's great. But anyway, no big deal there. Excited, a Grease reunion sing-along showing of the movie with them there for Q&A and for the VIP front row tickets, meeting them before. I assume you're talking about Travolta and the whole works. Yeah, I did see a special on that where they were actually singing the Grease maybe a year or two ago. Not sure if there was something going around back then or not, but I did see that. Hang on just a second here. Let me flip over to another screen. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Again, this is literally a last minute thing. For those in Patreon, I'm really behind this week. I have one that I was editing just before the show, and I got like 25 more minutes to edit on that one. It'll be up tomorrow. I'll probably just do a little editing tonight. Normally I'd stay up and just do it till it was done, but man, my day has been like super, super long today. I've just been everywhere, all over the place. House full of employees and the whole works, and it's just been really, really hectic this whole week. We had to go and do another visit to take back the heart monitor for my son. He's got a couple MRIs he has to have and a couple other appointments, and it's just been a lot to mess around with this past couple weeks. He was missed school again yesterday. My oldest, at least, is out of school, so I'm not driving him to and from college. Broken foot, if you didn't know, my oldest has. So he should be okay by the time he goes back to school for next term, beginning of the year. So he's in a chemical engineering program. He's got 7 credits left, and then looks like he's going to get in sponsored through the chemistry department for his master's. We are crossing our fingers, but they've already said something to him about it. So really happy about that. At least that's going good. So anyway. Let me see who's on here. Hey, there's Dom. Dom, I'm first front row seats. Well, welcome, Dom. Welcome to the show. Jim and Julie, how are you two doing? Yeah, I can't see through your head. You can't see through my head. Good evening. Hello, howdy, all. We've got Hustle and Grind Calgary, Rich Sanders, Jason Blake, Ginny Essen. Carl's down there, too. Nantique, welcome. Again, I'm a little bit rushed today, so you'll have to excuse me. David Rubino, how are you doing? Hey, Bob Hall, welcome. I get to meet Olivia Newton-John and John Travolta Saturday Night Live here in Florida. When we worked at Disney, I can't remember Travolta's wife's name, but she was there and she had kids with them. And I think Jet, I remember his name. I think he's the one who died, but... my wife was a guest relations at the Magic Kingdom, and she got to walk around and hold. I wish I could remember her name. I'm not great on actors and actresses' names for some of them. Travolta I obviously know, and the ones that I grew up on. But anyway, his wife was there, and my wife got to walk around for like 15, 20 minutes holding the camera for them and got to hang out and talk. And they actually sent her a copy of the film, which was really cool. So, well, it was sent through Disney, and then Disney passed it on. But anyway, it happened. So that was an interesting experience. Very pleasant people, at least the experience my wife had. So, Eddie Barahona, how are you doing? Yes, Carl is in Florida. I got you on the Florida, yes. Hey, Mary, welcome. Good to have you here. Jenny, thank you on the background. I try to pick something festive that is public domain. That's getting harder and harder, it seems. Hey, Karen, how are you doing? Hope everything is well with you. Yeah, I do. I would probably go, maybe. I don't know. I might go to a Grease reunion showing of it. I don't know. We watched it the other day. Some of the songs in there I really do like. Anyway, Bob's doing good. Welcome, Penny. How you doing, Penny Day? Yeah, Dom, you know how that happens. I literally, when it's the last second, usually I remember to open up another screen and then mute it so when I click on live, it doesn't do that. But last minute, that's my own fault. Again, I almost didn't go on show. I was debating. It was really late and I was just getting in. And anyway, Lubba Lubba Dub Dub, how are you doing as well? And welcome back to you. Hello, Carl. Lucky number 7 thumbs up. Tanya, how are you doing? Brittingham, welcome, welcome. Merrick X7, good evening as well to you. Happy holidays. Holidays are almost here for us. Gritty Savage, never saw me live. I am live every single Thursday at 7. There might be a Christmas show we're still working on for next week, and it would be at a different time if we do one. We're looking at 8, I think, for next week if everything goes, hopefully. But I'll announce it as we get closer. I won't know till tomorrow for sure, it looks like. So just FYI, probably be a little something special for Christmas, I would imagine. It'll be the last, big hurrah of the year, I would say, anyway. So I won't give away too much on that one yet. The Flip Lord, huh? Let's see here. There goes my feed. Let me see if I can get it back. Let's see here. You say you're rushed today. Rushed during the holiday season. Inconceivable. Yeah, it has nothing to do with the holidays, in all honesty. We take our youngest with his condition to and from school every day now. He gets out earlier than everybody else to every day of the week and stuff. So I pick him up earlier so there's no issues or congestion. And then when we dropped him off this morning, it was like 6:50 and we had to go shopping. I usually go grocery shopping real early in the morning. Dom, I've talked to that about before. It's about the only time I can grocery shop is early in the morning when no one else is there, or real late at night. And I don't like going late at night, truthfully. If it's late at night, I'd rather just be doing something work-wise. And if I'm up, that's what I got to do. I don't like to go out and mess around late at night. My vision isn't super good at night, in all honesty. So, hang on. Jim and Julie, I literally, as soon as I get a chance I know there's something coming up here for either this month or next month, if I'm not mistaken, for a show that maybe we can go to. My schedule has been all over the place. We thought my youngest only needed a MRI, and it's a couple of them. It's 2 different kinds or 2 different types of MRIs they're doing that can't be done at the same time. The appointments are horrid. We're not going to get out of there till like midnight on the day, and it's a school day. And anyway, it's just going to be a long ordeal on those days too. And it's an hour and a half just for the MRI part, and we've got to be there like 30 minutes early for paperwork and setup and all this other stuff. So it's going to be a long couple of days there. He's had a lot of tests. The last test my youngest had, we were there for over 4 hours, and the echo sounds they do for like 40 minutes. They do all kinds of different things to it. You can see it, and it's just it's all there. So it's been a long week. We're glad the monitor's off at this point. So at least we had to still drive that back and take a special trip out there for that too. So we know the doctor pretty well. She wrote a very nice letter for the school because they have been harassing us over all his missing and stuff. But anyway, that's out of there. Yeah, Travolta lives in, and I wish I could remember the name of the community, but there's a video on the community. Everybody there has a place they can land, a plane that they can drive right up to their house almost. We lived in Florida for a while, and I kind of know the area. Anyway. Travolta owns his own 747, I think, too, if I'm not mistaken. Jenny S. met John Travolta when he was our Welcome Back Kotter. I remember that show very, very fondly. Let me slide down here. Yeah, I've been through Holiday before. You're wearing a Xanadu hoodie. If you're from Florida, Carl, do you remember Xanadu, the tourist attraction that was there? And I think it used to be on Highway 192, West 192. No, East 192, I want to say. Somewhere in that range. And I've been through Land O'Lakes. We used to go to a couple sales out in Land O'Lakes even. If you want to know how to ship Gritty Savage, I've got a shipping video that shows you how to do everything. I don't buy anything other than just cardboard for shipping records, and we ship a ton of records, and I do mean a ton. We've got like 300,000 records in our inventory, somewhere in that range. Maybe it's more than that now. I don't keep track after a certain amount. I mean, I've got totals on book, but I don't, I couldn't tell you exactly without adding it up. Uh, St. Pete, I loved St. Pete. We used to go to Tarpon Springs area, Honeymoon Island, Coquino Beach area, all through there. I had an uncle that lived right off of alternate 19, right over there between Sarasota, St. Pete, in the Bradenton area. I know it very well. We used to take I-4 to either coast. I'd go to Daytona when we lived in Orlando, and all the way over to St. Pete, and then we drive up sometimes the coast towards Destin, Pensacola, because we used to take 10 to see my in-laws that lived in Mississippi. So we'd go up usually the middle of the state and then cut over and then head towards 10 and take 10 towards Mississippi. Let's see here. Up in Smoke, Hukania, Ray Dunn, I don't know who that is. Hang on just a second here. Let's talk just a little bit, too, about a few of the questions and comments I got on things going on. Now, sales-wise, I do keep track of, how many people are talking about sales and stuff like that. The majority of people that I've talked to do have sales increases for this month and have had a decent month. I don't know what everybody else has been like, but for me, my sales have been up. I'm way up, like 62% over last month right now. We've had a real monstrous of a month. This is the best month I've ever done. I don't do any promoted listings, and I've had that question I don't know how many times since the whole ad apocalypse thing with them blocking them, and they still can't admit to the truth on those. They brought their organic back, which proves that they know there was an issue in my book. Haven't announced it, but I'm not going to touch their promoted listings. I haven't had an issue with not using them. We'll send out a few of the offers to watchers, and that's literally about the most I do. I don't even have anything, I think, on sale at all out of 70 some odd thousand items. I don't have a single thing on sale right now, and usually I do that, but sales have been coming in very steadily, and I haven't had much issues. I did run into an issue with and maybe somebody else has had the same issue on offers to watchers. Now, I have at any one time, sometimes I'll have 1,000 listings that I can send watchers to offers on, or offers to watchers on. And I sent a bunch out the other night. I think we sent 120 some odd out. I don't send a bunch out because I did that once before and I was flooded with sales, and I was up till like 3 in the morning packing up stuff, which I didn't want to do that night. Money's good, but there's certain times you just don't want to mess with it. So I limit it very, very drastically. And a couple of the people I sent it to were watching a whole bunch of the items that I sent offers to, and eBay would not allow them to accept those offers or even touch them after they first looked at them, because they hit their limit when they looked at so many of them. Apparently, they'll limit how many offers a buyer can get. So the point was that I sent all these out, and half of them were useless because they cut them off, even though they allowed me to send them out, even though they allowed the person, the potential buyer, to see them. They even called eBay on it, and they said that I must have retracted those offers, which obviously I didn't do, or canceled them, which I don't even know if you can do that when you do the offers to watchers. Probably you can. I just haven't had to deal with that. So that was a little bothersome that they said that. And obviously it's not a glitch. The aspect of it is they only allow so many offers to a buyer, a watcher. And if you send out enough, you may hit a point where somebody's watching a bunch of your items and you're not going to be able to sell them to them. They couldn't even, it wouldn't even allow them to submit a standard offer for the same amount that I sent them. They had to wait till my offer expired just to do something with it, which was really ridiculous. That's something new. I've got a big thing. I wrote it down. I took screenshots, and I'm going to address it with eBay directly on it, because it shouldn't work like that. If somebody's watching it and you send out the offers, you should be able to get that sale from it. They wanted the items at the price I sent them. I did like 38% off or something like that on items that I had for more than a year and a half, or 18 months and older. I think I sent some out. I only picked off the old ones. I don't send offers to watchers for most anything that's been up for only a couple of months. 90 days is usually what I take. So I know a lot of people were upset when they wouldn't let you put things on sale that you just put up. You had to wait so many weeks. For me, I don't put anything on sale right away, or sometimes ever. And I've got some items that I don't even take best offers on, just because that's the price and that's the way it is. You take it, you don't. I don't really, it's not going to bother me, because I just turn down the offers. I got tired of turning down offers on them. And I don't sell them as quickly as if I took an offer, but I do sell them. So it's not a lot of items. That's just another thing that I personally do on stuff like that. What was the other question I had? I had something else that somebody was wanting to know. Shoot, it totally escapes my mind. And it was two things I wanted to discuss. I wanted to discuss that issue with the promoted listings. Again, because I'm the one who pointed it out, and I get that constantly. People ask, am I using them again? And again, I swear to you, I'm not. You can check my listings. I don't have a single promoted listing out of 70 some odd thousand things. Now, somebody else told me, maybe it was Dom, that Pete doesn't use promoted listings at all. Craigslist, I can't even think of his name. Craigslist Picker, I think. So, I mean, I'm not the only one who sees something up with that. I just refuse to pay the difference, and my items are fairly scarce or oddball, that I don't have any competition for 90% of them, 95 maybe even. So why would I pay eBay any more money for it in the first place? Anyway, let's hop to a few more questions here. And maybe I'll remember that other question that I had. Hang on, my feed is all over again. Oh, I got you there, Jim and Julie. Hang on just a second here. My feed's just terrible. Sometimes. Hang on just a second here. I don't think Xanadu records big money. I think I've had some Olivia Newton-John, even like import gold pressed discs and stuff. I still $30-40. There's not many by her that are worth money. Xanadu, I could probably get one almost every other day of the week if I really wanted to. It's a very common record. They pumped them out, and they weren't well collected in my book. Thank you, Gritty Savage. Let's see here. Yeah, I think I'm probably off on where I was. We used to stay in, what was it? Dunedin on alternate 19 up between, I think it was in the Bradenton, Sarasota, St. Pete area. We were like 20 minutes from the Sponge Docks in Tarpon Springs. I used to love going out there. Let's see here. Mary and her best friend loved Xanadu and saw it at least 20 times. Now, I snuck out and saw Star Wars probably 20 times in 1977, and I was like 8, I think. Wubba Lubba Dub Dub just asked on the sales, and there you go. My sales have been fine. I haven't had any issues with sales. The only issues I've had is with everything going on, packing at the last second and running around, and they changed our dumpster pickup and all kinds of stuff here this past couple of weeks. So I've had to change my schedule around constantly, and I do have a new employee, and he has a different schedule, so he can work during the day. So many times in the past before I had him, I didn't have as much confined to rush to get stuff done, but now I've got to get certain things done before person shows up, at least for video wise and stuff like that. And I'm behind on, as I said, I've just had so much family oriented things that we have to deal with medically wise that I just haven't had much time to do anything really. This week I've probably got, I don't want to exaggerate, but I'll end up with 85 hours, maybe more than that. After this show tonight, I'm gonna probably do 20 more minutes worth of video so I can at least get it up prior to 10 o'clock tomorrow. And that's it for today. I usually stay up till midnight or 1 on most days, but not today. I'm totally drained beyond belief. Anyway, let's see here. Pottery from Marshalls. I don't think we even have a Marshalls on here. Welcome, Dan. How are you doing? Carl has been to Honeymoon Island. Yeah, back in the day when we went to Honeymoon, this is 20 some odd years ago, there were dolphins. You could literally swim with the dolphins. You could pick up sand dollars, live ones, and sea anemones and things like that right off in the water on Honeymoon Island out there and stuff. I've been up to Tarpon Springs so many times. We used to eat at Louis Pappas's Greek restaurant down there on the dock, and it used to be awesome. When I was a kid, I remember I went there when I was like in 1978. I think it was the first time my parents went. We went to Florida, and I was down in the Sponge Docks. Me and my wife went in like the 90s, and it just wasn't what I remember it was at all. I mean, the red snapper is like one of their key things. That and triggerfish, if you know what triggerfish are, which is a delicacy. But anyway, I've caught them too. We went deep sea fishing out of Destin, Florida, and we caught, I myself caught like 17 big red snapper. Well, that's big to me, but I'm sure they get much bigger. And then I caught a couple triggerfish, and somebody on the boat caught a 60 or 70 pound grouper, which is a small grouper too, which is nice. And then somebody else caught a shark in the group. Everybody caught snappers. Everybody did. I mean, it was a nice boat trip. I mean, we were out for I think 6 hours, and I had like, I want to say 50 or 60 pounds worth of fish. They fillet them, you got to pay them and all, but I just paid. I wasn't wanting to fillet that much fish. We had fish in the freezer for a very long time after that. I love fresh fish, even fresh caught fish, I should say. I don't mind cleaning my own either, but that was just too many. And if you've never been deep sea fishing, the fins on a deep sea fish are really sharp compared to a freshwater. The chances of getting cut are greatly increased on there. And they're like, we went fishing off the Sunshine Skyway Bridge, which was the bridge on Tampa Bay. Carl probably knows what that is. And it was hit by a boat when I was a kid. And they opened it up for fishing on one of the parts just before the center section collapsed. Even back in then, you could still see cars in the bottom of the water when I was there. So if that tells you how shortly past it happened, we were in the area. But we used to fish off there a lot, and you could get all kinds of good fish out there. That was probably one of the best places. I like catfish. I know a lot of people don't, but even the channel cats through the bay down there, Tampa Bay, were even really good. And they're nice-sized channel cats. Those are about the only thing. Yellow jacks, I think, are the ones, though, that you got to bleed, and they've got big spikes that are even worse than a catfish. I've been nabbed by a catfish once before, and it was nasty if you ever get spiked by one, because it's literally poison, and I had to be on antibiotics and the whole works once before. My own stupidness. I was young. I was playing around. Yeah, it just depends on what everybody sells as to how busy you're going to be or not going to be in my book. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason for some things, but I know certain times of the year what I'm going to sell usually. Obviously, Christmas items are selling right now. Most of my Christmas collectibles, but military items always sell for me, more so in December and January than any other time. And I think it's people in the house, and they buy collectibles for relatives that collect military and things like that. I buy stuff for my son for Christmas and military-wise and stuff. And he was in the drill team and the whole works. He obviously had to drop out because of his medical issues, but he still loves the stuff. So, and he goes to some of the shows together. I've got a couple videos up with me and my son at a couple flea markets and at a military show that's local here. I go to any kind of show if there's a chance and something showing up. There's a toy show coming up. I wished I could remember what the date is. I write everything down, and I don't have anything right here in front of me again. Usually I have a tablet. I don't even have a tablet today. So, and I had notes I wrote down early this morning, and I don't even know where I put my tablet, if that tells you anything. I haven't been in here for very long, other than like pricing, setting employees up. I had 4 different people working today, not counting family. So 4 non-family members worked today, plus obviously the wife. My youngest didn't work, and my oldest broken foot isn't working right now either. he takes photos and standing and stuff like that. He can't do that right now, and he didn't want to mess around with that. Plus, he's got one more final I think he has to do, but it's online, thank goodness. Let's see here, where are we at? I don't want to miss anybody here. Best month for us too. It's been crazy good. Wubba lubba dub dub. Yeah, I'm almost surprised. I mean, I expected to be up, but I didn't expect to be up at a horrendous amount. We're up from last month, and we're way up from last year. Last month was up overall. We originally started off and I do projections. So the first day of the month, I project what I should have in at the end of the month based on my sales. And I was projecting down, and then we just put some stuff on sale. I sent out some offers. Sales ended. We did fine. Ended up being over again last month too. I mean, I had to work at it and move some stuff around and make some offers and things like that. But that's all it took. We sort of sent out, like I said, like 120 offers on the one day. And I want to say we sold like 270 or so extra from the offers that I sent out. And they were stuff that's, old stuff, a couple years old. We even trashed like a couple hundred books we pulled off yesterday. Or was it? Yeah, yesterday. Ian, was it Ian? I think it was Ian pulled off a bunch of books and we trashed some books. I used to donate them, but ends up if I donate them to the wrong person or anybody around here, I'll just end up seeing them again, and I hate having to see them again. And it wasn't worth me going to the auction just to dump off a couple boxes of books, in my opinion. I don't like people coming to the house anymore with Craigslist or anything else like that. I'm a private person in, real life. I know this is different. Nobody's in front of me talking to you guys. It's just live. But we don't do the people at the house anymore. We've had issues, and there's been some things happening, and I just don't want to mess with it. We had a stalker from YouTube here and things along that line. So I don't mess with anybody coming to the house at all. I don't list on anything. We don't publish any addresses or anything like that, and everything's unlisted. Unfortunately, you have to do that nowadays, depending on what you do. Sad to say, but that's the way it is. I never saw Grease in the theater. My parents wouldn't have taken me to see it, I don't think, if I remember right. My parents loved Shana Na, and they're in the end of it. They're the musical group at the end. Bowser, if you know who Bowser is. I'm sure Carl know that for sure. Let's see here. Carl's done great the last 4 months. Yeah, I people ask, well, how are you doing so great and everybody else isn't? I don't sell what everybody else does. It depends on what you sell. And we've eliminated categories that just don't make us as much money, like with the books and stuff. If it's not over a certain dollar amount, I don't even mess with books. We used to scan books. I don't send a lot into Amazon anymore. It's just a rat race around here for scanning books. So I've moved into areas that I can bulk purchase. If I can't bulk purchase them nowadays, I don't honestly mess with them because my time is drastically important. And money-wise, I can't afford to do that and waste time. I like to buy bulk on everything. Local live auctions are fine if you're buying bulk. I do have pickers, so I have a little different aspect on purchasing and acquiring, sourcing materials. So I'm not hurting for anything, in all honesty. Even with stuff going on, I still had somebody show up and I still purchased stuff today in my possession right now. So some military items, some rather interesting stuff too. Maybe I'll do a video here on paper haul, just on paper stuff too. We're also moving stuff around. We're going to be putting in another listing area. What would that be? Another 10 feet of desk space we're going to be putting in to move some stuff around. I've been working on some animation, and things are going fairly well with that. So I want to have like another person or two hired. With my accountant right now, I can run up to 12 employees. So I'm probably going to, get to that point real soon. Again, I worried about hiring somebody new, and people ask that question. I always worry when I hire somebody new that it's not going to be financially feasible, but it always ends up. I don't even know why I worry anymore because they list so many items in a certain time frame, and I sell so many items every day they list. So every day, at the end of the day, the worst case scenario is I break even and I have nothing gained or I have nothing lost, but I at least have items listed. So I can't complain about that at all. Let me see what we got over here. Hang on just a second. Gritty Savage, I haven't noticed a difference with promoted items either. eBay says with their promoted listings, if you say, hey, I'd like to promote them, there is no guarantee they will even promote that item. So that's the part that gets me. And then I've been watching where the placements are. My wife collects some things, that we collect. It's not to sell or anything like that. And you're going to see some videos on it. Weebles is one of them. And somebody constantly has like a junky item that they're sponsoring or promoting. And it's always at the top on like spot number 4 every single time. And it's something that no one would want when there's 20 of that same thing out there for either less or in way better condition. So I know for sure in the collectibles field that a lot of people don't like the whole promoted aspect of it, from what I see. Because again, a lot of the time it's just stuff that they wouldn't be interested in, at least from my take on it. As a person who searches for items that we collect, I don't see, them helping anybody sell something. If it's a bad item, it's a bad item. You can promote something all you want, but if it's not a good item, it goes right back down to buying the best possible items you can to resell. If you buy hundreds of pieces of stuff to sell and it's all junk, you ain't going to sell it. It doesn't matter. So even promoted listings go right back to the bare bones aspect of it. You got to have good items. And again, we'll talk about the 3 specifics, which are your photo, your title, and your price. Those are the 3 biggest things that are always tied to your listing. That's part of the main frame, the basement of your listing, and those are the things that you need to worry about the most. Patreon wise, the video going up is going to show you something really interesting, and you'll I'm sure enjoy it. And this is a pricing scheme, and I'm going to show you why it works. I'm going to show you why we can price over and above what everybody else does with a firm 100% good example for those in Patreon. And in that video, there's an item that you can see that somebody will have a chance to buy. It's not mine. But you'll see what I mean when you watch the video. I don't know if anybody is going to reach out and do that, but video should be up tomorrow morning at the very latest. I do apologize for the delay. Video for this channel will be up as well. That is shot, but I haven't even touched the editing, so it won't be up till tomorrow afternoon or evening. It's another Bolo video, so FYI. Let's see here. Where are we at? Carolina Picks, how are you doing? Carl, promoted is a waste. Just my 2 cents worth. If you hit Alt 0169, I think that'll give you the cent sign. Just FYI. Scott Watson, have you heard anything about eBay pay-per-click? That's supposed pay-per-click was discussed with me when I had the video conference call with the execs at eBay. That is what's going to happen in the first quarter of next year. So my guess is there's going to be, in fact, they did say there was going to be an update to me personally. So you'll see an update as well coming out January, February, probably would be my guess. Hope it's a good one. Nothing you can do really the way it seems if it's not, but that's coming up in the next one. Pay-per-click is not the way for eBay to go for anything other than NOS stock, in my opinion, stuff like that, RA items. It's a little scary. I don't mind it at all on Amazon because that's the nature of Amazon. We sell collectibles on it, so I don't really worry about what happens there, but eBay, my worry is they're going to be putting more, it's going to have to be NOSs, bulk, wholesale items and stuff like that, overseas vendors, to want to do the pay-per-clicks. It's going to have a ton of the same items, so you're not going to see as many. If they flood the front page with pay-per-clicks, you're not going to see as many vintage items, which is what built eBay. They still don't know what they even want to be in my book. eBay's still floundering there, not deciding on what direction they want to go. I still don't know CEO-wise or where they're going to go with anything. Nothing's really changed other than the organic was put back in on the ones that I have seen. So I don't know if everybody has seen their organics showing up. I don't do promoted, as I've been saying. And I barely even do any sales at all, promoted sales, that I don't pay eBay anything extra for. So, and that is an option. I did show you in another video, I just up and down prices by $1, sometimes 50 cents. And it changes one of the 3 foundation items of your listing again: the title, the photo, and the price. You change one of those, it's going to recategorize you in the search results. It'll refresh you for sure. It has to, because you're going to be in a different spot. So that's one of the key things that you can do. And you can bulk, I showed it, bulk edit 500 at a time, and you can up the price by $1 one month, down it $1 the next month, and it should refresh your listings enough to not be stagnant. It has increased sales at least 30% in some items. Some items that have been there for a while, when we've done that, you can tell by certain items. I do when I do that 500 at a time in the same category, and they're in not alphabetical. They're in list date order. So I've listed them by oldest first. So when I'm listing stuff, it's all items together. So if before I do this, there's no barely sales noticeable from, listings from let's say January of 2018, the items I listed in that month, and then all of a sudden I get 5 or 6 items that sell, and I just did that with the up and down price, it's very obvious that you've done something. It would be hard pressed to say that 6 items from January of 2018 automatically sold for any other reason, especially if they're different items to different people, which is what the case has been. So I say it works based on actual research and factual statistical evidence on it. You can write it out on a piece of paper and see how much of it increases or doesn't increase. And if you've got an increase over, specifics or like items, it's pretty much a provenable test in my book. A scientific test. I could repeat it. That's the key here. I could repeat it over and over again, and I get the same results. That's the key. It's not just like a one-off, boom, I accidentally sold a few items that might have sold anyway. That does refresh it. I'll argue anybody till I'm blue in the face that does help. The dollar up and dollar down, as I said a couple weeks back in another video, it does help. So anyway, if you haven't hit the like button, pop that like button down there. I've got like 115 people on and 29 likes. Again, I know the folks come here and just to put the thumbs down if that's what they want to do. It doesn't honestly hurt your channel. It's just, it doesn't count bad or good against you at all on YouTube. I don't know why people still think that that's a thing. I mean, it all counts as activity on your channel. That I learned for sure. Anyway, let's see here. How come there is a ban on Marlboro vintage shirts? eBay won't let me sell them. It depends on what character. I think they banned a couple characters or something. Or maybe there's a what you're selling. Maybe they've opened up zeros on it. I couldn't tell you for sure on that. I still sell Marlboro items. I don't know about shirts because I don't mess with clothing. Call eBay and ask them. If I don't know something, I'll call and ask. And if the first person doesn't give me a good answer, I'll call back and talk to somebody else. Somebody else told me there was a ban on something else smoking related too, and I can't remember what it was, but... Perfect Divas 13, found in 1929. Real photo, real picture postcard. Thanks to you, I know that's what it is. Well, glad to hear. Yeah, I don't know if Grease was a box office bust or not. I'd have to dig into that one. I used to pay attention. I had the trade cards at one time. What is it, 5,000? I've had similar glitches in the past with send offers. Yeah, and eBay denied that that's what it was and told them that I must have canceled them. I don't cancel. If I send an offer out, I'm never canceled an offer. I don't think I've ever in my life canceled an offer. Ever. So anyway. Yeah, why that would happen, I understand. They don't want to give too many offers to somebody. But if they're interested in the offers, why would you block them from being able to accept them? And then even that, they blocked the person from being able to just send me a standard offer because that one's pending and it won't allow them to do anything except from that one offer. But that offer they can't touch, so it's like in a limbo on offers from that person. It's really an oddball situation. Well, thank you very kindly, Carolina Picks, for the $5 super chat. I greatly appreciate that. Again, I do spend a lot of time in Patreon. You're going to see just how long it takes me just to do the credits, the end credits, where I list all of my patrons' names. Took an awful long time to do that when I first started with this off. Hang on, my feeds just disappeared. Hang on, let's see where we're at. Oh, I'm sorry, my feed just goes all over the place. Where are we at? Went to went to my first live auction last weekend. It was very interesting. Do you have any live auction strategies? I always show up a couple hours early sometimes, or I'll check out a couple auctions. Usually there's a preview. And I never look interested in anything at the preview. I'll step away and write notes down on what I want. If there's a lot number, I write the lot numbers down. One thing I've been very good and lucky at, if they don't recognize you at a sale, and usually if there's something you want and you don't want to stick around all day, I've asked for certain items to be brought up to the front. I got to be somewhere. Is there any chance this item can be auctioned off first? And many times I get lucky enough where they'll do that. It's not as good as cleanup at the end of an auction, but I'm usually able to get stuff really well, and it's usually something no one else would want anyway. Table cleanups at a local live auction are usually the best. That's at the end of the auction. There's sometimes only 2 or 3 people standing around. All the leftover junk that they can't sell, they'll sell it by the table usually. For $5, I've gotten a couple hundred items on many occasions. For $5, usually you can clean up a table. $20 at most, usually, because they don't keep the stuff around after the auction unless they have an antique store or something else, or a venue they can auction it off. Usually if it's just junk from somebody else, they're committed to sell it. At the end of the day, it goes off by the table. That's the good thing at local live auctions. The only other thing that I always tell everybody to worry about is if they're auctioning off, and I use a chair for example, because this one is something that I've seen people get busted on before. They'll give you a price, 5 at 10, 5 at 10, 5 at 10. They might have 10 chairs and they want $5 for each of those 10 chairs. Now, some people get confused, and I've seen it happen, I don't know how many times, in arguments where they think they're paying $5 for one of those 10 chairs and that's all they have to buy. But when they're doing stuff like that, you're buying all 10 chairs for $5 a pop. So you better do your math. Obviously $50, $50. But when you get into more complicated math, or 20 chairs or whatever else, know what you're doing. A lot of people think they're only wanting one chair. They're going to only have to pay $5 and get one chair, and off they go. And at the end of the day, you just bought them all. So pay attention to what they're saying on local live auctions in my book, because I've seen that happen. Holding up the card, watch who else is bidding against you when you're at one of these sales too. Pay attention to the numbers, see where they're at, see when they're popping in on this. Give you some strategy when you're trying to bid against somebody to know what they do with their bidding scheme. Some people just randomly just throw bids out there and don't have any ploy at all. But I have a ploy. I try to sit in a certain spot. I try to bid at a certain point. It just depends on what we're bidding on, of course. But I stay away from the high dollar items. I stay away from electronics at auctions as well. I have better sources for electronics. And sometimes another thing to think about at a sale, like a local live auction, some of the merchandise showing up is probably from people like me who are getting rid of bulk locally just to get it out and get some money back out of it. When I pick through stuff and I don't think it's something I can sell as a bulk auction on eBay or Amazon or somewhere, or I can't sell it individually, my leftovers basically, I'll just take them, throw them in a box, and take them down to one of the auction houses that we use here locally. So that's how I get rid of my junk. That's what I do I sell, 1,000 postcards locally or online sometimes. All the stuff that I can't get money out of, or I don't want to mess with below a certain amount, or I don't want to sit there and take tons of photos of big bulk lots. I'm not a big bulk lot person. I just like to scan stuff these days and simpleton stuff. I mean, I have 4 or 5 people that takes photos here any given week, I would say, but I like the paper the best. Small space, easy to ship. Records are just as easy too, honestly, for me. 78s are a little more difficult for some people, but I make more money, or a steady flow, I should say, on 78s. So I can always count on a certain amount of sales in 78s, whether it be on eBay or Amazon or wherever. Let me see here. Let me slide down. Yeah, live auctions are good, as I said. Craigslist Hunter, yeah, sorry. I haven't watched another channel other than Primetime Treasure Hunters in quite some time. I got hit up by a couple other channels for wanting to do stuff, and at this point, I just don't have time to do too much. Everybody knows Dom's always welcome on my channel, and I'm the same way. I'm sure I'm always welcome on Dom's. But other than that, I don't get out there much. Nothing against anybody. I like Wade and Scott and all them guys too are still good guys. So I just don't have any time. I don't know how everybody else is, but my time is immensely occupied between family, YouTube, Patreon, all my selling platforms and stuff, which is where most of my time honestly goes, is selling, reselling. That's what I really like to do is resell. It's like a natural high almost, scoring on something and making some insane amount of money for just some little tiny piece of nothing. It's a big thrill to me. It's like treasure hunting to say the least. We got a little more time here. I'm not going to be on too late. Again, my day's been just horrendous. Literally 85 hours a week is what this week is. Yeah, thanks, Carolina Picks. Yeah, Carl's like me. I snuck out to see Star Wars. My parents took us once, and I think I snuck out, I don't know how many dozens of times to see Star Wars. Yeah, I had all the toys. That was like the biggest event of my childhood was Star Wars in 1977 coming out. It's a big event. Everybody was Star Wars everything. I even stayed and watched the holiday special, and all that kind of stuff. That was the first time you got to see Boba Fett. Just for I think a little tiny glimpse, if I remember right, was in that holiday special. Um, hey, Aaron, how are you doing, Aaron? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I can't watch the original Star Wars. They're kind of droll and boring these days. But as a kid, oh my god, that was like the best. I haven't seen any of the last three. We watched oh, I can't even. Rogue One, I think, is what the last one I saw, and I fell asleep. In all honesty, I mean, I couldn't get into it. It's not like what I was expecting. Something like The Martian. I loved The Martian with what's his name? Again, I'm so tired. I guess my brain's not functioning properly today. Mary McQuain, I saw Star Wars and Empire probably that many times too. They were at the theater so long the film started messing up. Yeah, I know they had to send a new copy of it. I actually have a couple strips of 35 millimeter film from the original release of Empire from 1980. This is before I was old enough to work anywhere, obviously, and I was coming out of the restroom, and the projection room was right next door to the men's restroom, up on the balcony up there. And there was a piece of film set in the ground, and I quickly put it in my pocket. It's actually a strip, and I still have it. It's Luke in on Bespin in one of the air tubes when he fell down through, and it's him standing there like that. Anyway, I've got tons of more film past that when I worked at the theater, but that was something I found. It's really cool. In fact, we got to be friends with the projectionist after a while, and we asked him, could we have any of those scraps? So even to this day, I've got like 25 pounds of 35 millimeter frame film, cell films, just loaded in boxes. I mean, I got trailers, the whole trailer and things from all kinds of stuff. I worked at a movie theater for until they actually closed for a couple of years. Yeah, I loved working at the theater. I had posters and everything. Yeah, Carl's going an opening night. I just can't get into Star Wars anymore. I just don't know. It's too out there, I guess. I don't know. They're trying too hard. I don't know. It's just not the same. I don't get into superhero movies anymore at all, really, either. I haven't seen any of the new Marvels at all. I think Spider-Man 3 was the last one maybe we watched. I tried to watch Doctor Strange, and I like Cumberbund, I think his name is, but I just couldn't get in the movie. It just, I don't know. I like superheroes, I like comic books, and I like the art and everything, but I just couldn't get into the movies. They've just flooded everything with the movies. I mean, and then Star Wars, they're making all these other Star Wars movies and all, and it's just not the same to me, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm expecting too much. Carl, you need to get your rest. Yeah, I'm gonna get my rest tonight. I'm going to bed by 9, 10 o'clock. Well, thank you, Carl. Very kind. Dino, eBay feels like an empty shopping mall. I don't have that experience at all on eBay. In all honesty, again, it comes down to what you sell. I sell stuff that people buy all year round. It doesn't matter what season it is. In winter season, they sell or they buy more of them because they're just sitting around the house. You can't go outside as much. And most of what I sell, older folks buy, and they don't do as much of the activity, so they do a lot more buying. Plus, we sell to schools, colleges, graphic companies, Hollywood businesses and prop houses even we sell, especially a lot of the vintage paper like wrappers and stuff. I'm assuming they make a copy of it and mass produce it for a set or something. I don't know. We've sold some big tin signs and things to Hollywood, some lighting fixtures and neons and things like that too. It's always neat to see something you sold in a movie or a TV show too. Theo T, no, I wouldn't want to be president. I'm staying out of the politics field. Yeah, Carl, talking about fishing trips. I liked going fishing in Destin. One of the companies I worked for, they forced us to go on some big business thing for like a retreat for all the general managers and regionals. And the owner of the company was there. It was a franchise for Applebee's. I didn't want to go, and I'm not a big person to hang out with people I don't really know, and you know, I clash with people, I guess, because I'm more business oriented. I don't, just go out and party like these people. The people at this event were just, it was a 3-day thing. I could have brought my wife, but we had a small infant, and so I wasn't going to, have my wife get a babysitter. We couldn't do it. And I was forced to go. They pulled somebody to fill in at the store for me and all that. And I'm not a person that hangs out and stuff. I don't go to bars very much at all anymore. I'm nothing against them. I used to, we used to go out every Friday and the whole works. But nowadays, and I was a family. Since I've been a family man, I should say, I'm not big into hanging out. And the people there were just drunk and falling down and slurring their words. And, there's nothing wrong with that, but there's a place and time. And if I'm business, I'm more rigid, I guess, and stuff. I mean, you guys don't get to see my goofy side, but the wife and kids see it. I'm more reserved in public, I guess you could say, but I do jokes and goof around just like everybody else, I have to say. Anyway, where are we at? What does the blue wrench after people's names mean? That means they are a moderator for the channel, and they have the ability to do special things like block people and turn off things and stuff like that. Carl's one of our longtime folks on here. I'll probably give out a few more wrenches. There's a few other folks that I have been talking to that I probably will as well. Let me see where we at. Yeah, their cargoes, remove bad posts and stuff. Yeah. On board. For some reason, I'm not getting notices. If you don't click the bell routinely, apparently, they don't tell you anymore that there's videos going up and stuff. I've had 3 or 4 people, including people on Patreon, say something about that, where she's, subscribes and the whole works and she doesn't get any notices. So you have to refresh it if you want to get a notice when something happens or I'm going live or something like that. Again, next Thursday, the chances are the show will be at 8, and it'll be a special Christmas show. There'll be some Christmas stuff going on, maybe some gifts or something. So just FYI, might have a secret guest on. Still kind of looking to that. I don't know if we can get Santa on, but we might have a special guest on for that day. So anyway, I'm looking for a Christmas show. We've got some public domain Christmas music and background and some other things going on too. So hopefully it'll be next Thursday. Mark Donahue, how are you doing? Let's see. Merry Christmas, everyone. Let's all thank. Well, thank you, Carl. Yeah, somebody, the thumbs down always seems to happen. I noticed too, sometimes the thumbs down will change. If you hit one or the other, I think it'll accidentally flick you on to a thumbs down. I saw that the other day. Love Bowser from Shunana, I'm sure Ginny is talking about. Disney Family 515, how are you doing? Well, thank you very kindly. When something G sells, don't you have to show your address? I'm not sure what your question is, Sherry. I don't put out any personal addresses on any of my accounts, so if somebody sees something from me or anything like that, it's not a personal, it's a business address only. I use P.O. boxes for everything, and I would recommend everybody using a P.O. box as well. Asher Burns, what other categories have you decided against? Categories? I don't do pottery or glass mostly, unless it's something that will sell fairly quick and it'll fit in. I've got little bins, drawers, and I can stack glass up that way. If I've got to set it on a shelf or something, I don't want to mess with it very much. I picked up some steins because I always sell steins and stuff, but I don't mess with those very often. Books, I'm almost done with them other than high-end books. It's just not worth my aggravation or time for the books. Got somebody here. One of my sons is out right now. Yeah, there goes our dogs. You can hear him in the background. What else don't I sell? No more clothing other than NOS, like 70s and stuff. I've sold some of those shirts that I showed in a haul. What else don't I mess with? I don't do any sports hardly, other than like tobacco silks. I don't do any electronics mostly, unless they're vintage. And most vintage electronics that I do sell, I take apart. I'll rip apart reel to reel or something like that. Most of that stuff, if it's broken and it's a lower end reel to reel, I can buy it for almost nothing. The last couple I got for under $10 broken, and usually it's the spring or a belt or something in it. And I'll yank those all apart. Just like a hub, I can get 10 or $15 for. I get more out of one hub off of a reel-to-reel than I can sometimes for the entire reel-to-reel player. So I've taken apart so many. I know what all the parts are called, and the names on them and the whole works. As long as you can figure out the model number of the unit you have, you're fairly safe. Parts is what I sell the most of. That's about it on electronics and stuff. What else don't I sell? I don't sell news. I don't. Geez, that's about it. I mean, most things I'll give it a shot, as long as it doesn't take up a lot of space. I don't sell any cars, obviously, or furniture, or anything big, too big anyway. I don't do any local sales hardly ever at all these days. I don't like anybody meeting or anything like that at our location. When I go to meet somebody, I always meet them inside of the library here locally, or at the police department. They've got a spot under camera and all that you can go and meet them there. That's available for anybody to use here in town. So. Where are we at here? Not a big Tiger Woods fan. We saw him once in Florida at some tournament or something. Putt-putt's about my best in golf. Mark Donahue. Yeah, they're singing. They sing 2 or 3 songs. I think maybe even they're the ones singing Hand Jive, if I remember right, too, at the end. Dan Verrier. How do you identify old, unique, collectible figurines with no markings on it, or if there's only a date etched into it? Depends on what the character looks like. Figurines. Most of the good ones are marked, I can tell you right now. If it's a cartoon character or a personality or a persona of somebody, those are usually worth grabbing, even if they're not marked on the bottom. It's just going to depend on the figurine itself. They're all so different. I mean, there's some lines that I always buy. There's some makers, Goebbels, one that I almost always buy. Hummels, good example there. If it's marked right, with the B and the whole works and the V, most of those I can sell very easily, whether it's locally to a couple of shops out here. That's another thing that people don't pay much attention to. There's some shops that will sell these at a premium in the certain parts of town or downtown in like the antique district, and I can always sell like a Hummel down there for more than I can usually get online with the fees and all that. So if I get 4 or 5, I'll go down there and take a shot and drive down there and usually end up selling stuff like that locally. And I don't have to mess with it, and it's someplace I would probably shop at anyway. So I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone usually. Or I'll trade somebody for them. It's always good to have a group of people you can swap stuff with, because I might be able to get top dollar out of them in a trade with somebody else who's a reseller and get stuff that they don't know anything about or don't want to mess with. Or things along that line and stuff. I picked up some 8mm film, and I'm talking, I think they're the 50-foot rolls or reels of them, and I picked up like 500 of these things in a trade. And I started to go through them, and they're from the 60s. There's a couple from the 50s, and they're like train depots and stuff, all through them. And there's planes taken off at major airports and stuff. I'm assuming they were like train watchers and maybe a transportation person or something. I haven't looked at them all. Maybe it's an inspector's reel or something like that. But there's like 400 of these, and he didn't even look at them. So, I mean, I raked out like a bandit on that one, and that's a trade. I got nothing else, and in what I traded, I had almost nothing into it. So what if he only had $5 or $10 into these 400 reels, or $50 or whatever he had into it? He got something in return that he's going to make some good money on, and I got something that I'm going to make some real good money on too. And again, I've said this, we watch all those too, for those who want to know. I watch most of the 8mm films, at least enough to tell. We've got a couple projectors here. We've got a 10-foot screen we watch movies on for the family with, it's Wi-Fi in from a laptop, but it's a DLP projector, It's a name brand one. I love projectors. So glad we bought one. That was one of our best investments. We have a big family movie night and a big wraparound sofa. Oh, where are we at? Let's see here. I always wanted to ask you, what items are too cheap to list on eBay in your opinion? You mentioned all the records you have. Would you list them all, even if some are worth $5 or $10? As of these, I used to do $7.99 on paper items. It was the lowest I'll ever do on paper. Now I've got some up less than that because they were already listed. So for the most part, I don't do anything or try to under $9.99, anything over paper. If I can scan it, I'll go down to $7.99 on occasion if it's going to sell quick. But mostly, I want $10 and up on anything. Most of the records that I have, I've picked through at some point. Now I've probably got 20 or 30,000 45s that I haven't even looked at, and probably maybe 5,000 78s that I haven't touched or looked through either. Maybe about that in LPs, maybe a little more than that. That's probably about rough estimate out of 300 or so thousand records. Most of the time, I try to pull out. If I buy a big lot of records, let's give you this. If I buy a big lot of records, 5,000 records, I drive to Detroit. There's a jukebox company. I'll buy a bunch of records from a defunct jukebox company, and it'll be thousands of them. I'll go dig through and try to get some good stuff usually, and I'll pull out. At least I'll look through. Let's put it this way: I'll look through enough of it to know if I'm going to get my money back. As long as I'm getting my money back, I'm going to pull out the high dollar ones. I'll sell those right away, get all my money back. And if I'm bored some night or watching a movie or something, I might sit there and look through hundreds of the discs. And the ones that I'm not interested in or I can't bulk sell, I'll just chunk them in some boxes. And all those are going to go back to a local live auction. And somebody else will auction them off for me, and I won't mess with it. Now, we do list 125 individual records into one big lot on eBay all the time. I'll do 125 soul records, 125 R&B records, and these are like $1 to say $5 or $6 records. That's what goes in a lot like those. And I've sold one of those, 125 lots for $600 or $700. Average price is like $125 to say $160, $165. It depends on what's in the lot, but usually I'll get close to $1 record back on those. My time into it invested as an employee, typing for about 15 minutes to do a lot that big, because that's usually what it takes. Depends on who's doing it. If they're decent typers, I can do one of those lots in 10 or 15 minutes easy, but I can type like 60 or 70 words a minute. I'm always on the laptop, so that's my take on almost anything I get. If I get 10,000 postcards, I'm going to pull some high dollar ones out. I'm going to sell those right away, get all my money back. I'll sort through some of those and lump them together, pick out the individual ones and set those aside. Usually I'll look through lots of postcards like that 2 or 3 times before I end up chunking the rest. At the end of the day, if I don't think I can sell a lot like that, the leftovers, they go on eBay in lots of 1,000 postcards for anywhere from $125 to about $150 is what I sell them for on eBay. And that's about average. And that's why people say, hey, I'll buy some postcards and big lots off eBay. 99% of the people selling postcard lots of 1,000 postcards on eBay are postcard dealers or sellers. Now, I'm not saying that they're not going to miss something in there, but your odds are very low. If you want to decide on buying from somebody online like that, whatever you're at, look and see what else they sell. 9 out of 10 people on eBay who have a lot of 1,000 postcards for sale sell individual postcards down to $5 and $6 a piece. So what you're usually getting are the leftovers they don't think they can sell, or items that they listed and they couldn't sell. And sometimes they'll put stuff and they'll show you the picture of it, and sometimes I can go back and look and see if they tried to list that in completed listings. And sometimes I'll see, oh, sure enough, that's their postcard. So they've pulled them off. And I've done this thing too long. I personally sell them in 1,000 card lots that way. So, I do exactly the same thing everybody else does. That's why I say buying off of eBay isn't necessarily the best choice. There's, what's the Auction Zip, or not Auction Zip, there's an auction company. If Aaron's still on here, he's talked about it before too, and I can't remember the name of it. Again, my day's been long, so my brain isn't functioning like it should today. But there's other places to buy other than eBay, and that would always be my first choice. Anywhere other than eBay, because again, I blow out my junk on eBay sometimes too. So, just keep that in mind. Yeah, Murray, the video on Patreon is going to be, it'll be up in the morning, I promise you. It's literally, when I go to bed tonight, there'll be about 8 or 10 minutes left to edit. and then it'll be compiled. I'm up at 6 tomorrow again. My son goes to school. I got to be out the door almost at 6:30. So usually by 6:45, I'm already working. So I'll have the video up by 10. I have to have it done by 10 anyway because I've got employees coming in. And I don't know if I'll have an extra laptop handy for tomorrow or not otherwise. Yeah, Alt 0169 is the C. Yeah, I thought that's what it was. There's a ton of those for every imaginable number you can get. Or symbol, I should say. Ashley Sims went to TSO, wanted to tell you it was great. I can't tell you. I went to 20, 30, 40 concerts in my day. No exaggeration. I've seen everybody, even like the Stones and stuff like that. We snuck into Motley Crue. I've seen Kiss, Ozzy, Slayer, Beastie Boys, Run DMC. I've even seen Special Ed, which most people probably don't know who that is. I've seen Nirvana, Skid Row. I'd take a while to write down all the people I've seen. And in all honesty, the best stage show I have personally seen was TSO. I'm shocked. I was just surprised. I was, at the edge of my seat the entire concert. Even the slow songs, the singers were just phenomenal. And one of the girls there, she just reminds me of a younger Tina Turner, and she just belted it out. And I like Tina Turner. Her old stuff is just awesome. Don't agree with her husband or anything, her ex-husband, but Tina Turner could sing. And this girl on TSO was just phenomenal. Oh my gosh. I mean, it was just really good. Everybody there performed the heck out of it, and it was just a awesome show. And the violinist there was like just great. He ran all over the entire place for the entire 2.5 hours. It was just an astonishing show. We're definitely going back next time they're here. I don't care when it is or what's going on. I'm going back to TSO again. It was incredible. And I don't want to. I very rarely say that about anything, but TSO concert was just incredible. Very blown away by it. It was well worth everything, all the money and everything else. We were real close up front, literally like 20 feet from the stage. There's only one row in front of us on the side we were at. It was just, I would never sit far back, but it was just great from where we were sitting. Glad to know you liked it, Ashley. That was just incredible in my book. Yeah, Carl's went like 20 times or something, if I remember right. Captain Wackencracker helped load and unload and set up the TSO concert. I saw a video just on how much time and effort it takes to do that set. Their set, where they do it here, it's the Huntington Center, and they do the ice hockey there too, the Toledo Ice. I think they're the Walleyes. I'm not a sports person anymore at all these days, but I've been to a hockey game maybe once or twice in the Toledo Mudhens baseball here, but they turn in the hockey rink into this massive stage, and if Ashley saw it, they have this 30-foot Tesla coil that comes up in the back on the other side away from the stage, and it just shoots real lightning through there. You can smell it. It literally ionized the air, and you could smell the electricity in the air, and it was smoking, and their lighting's just it was really, really good. I can't say enough. Somebody said what did they say? They said, what do lasers and explosions have to do with Christmas? That was, I think, the question or the comment they made. You had to be there. I mean, Carol of the Bells done by them in heavy metal, like a Slayer version. It was really good. I can't speak enough about how good it was. The number 2 most downloaded Christmas song of all time is a TSO song. Number 2 of all time downloaded Christmas song, which was really surprised. Oh, let's see here. Rose39M, how are you doing? Oh, my feed just disappeared. Hang on, let me pop back up here. Oh, my feed's all over the place again. Gary Lightenwell, thank you very kindly for the $5 super chat. I am not seeing the super chats on my end. My feed is all over the place. I am sorry I missed that there. At least I think I'm almost to the right spot, at least. Again, thank you very kindly for the super chat. Now I can't find your super chat. My feed disappears sometimes constantly. What category is best to sell in on Amazon if you're new, gated in most categories? Home goods, always. Home goods and books are always the best. Anything kitchen supplies I could sell very easily. Foods and markdown stuff like that. I'm ungated, and I mean so many different items. Last year we made a small fortune in Mego action figures. That was one of the best ones, and Legos. I'm gated in Legos for quite some time. I sell Lego sets that we got in clearance at like 60% off, and I was selling them at 150% of what the list price was. So we were doing excellent. I was getting way more than they were even, at the store selling for. So Amazon is always the best and stuff like that. Again, you might be gated in toys and stuff, but home goods, almost everybody's able to. Foods and such forth, you should be able to. Once you've been established and you have your seller's account for quite some time, you start to get some feedback. You're going to be able to be ungated in a lot of things. We do wholesale, so I can get a receipt for pretty much anything I want these days. So if I want to sell something, I can. I do stay away from certain areas on Amazon. I have shared some inside stuff from my personal Amazon account in Patreon, but again, I don't list or show my Amazon account at all. You can't do that. It's not safe. For those in Patreon, you saw those 2 videos I showed you on Amazon and what the other sellers do to people, and that is the exact reason why I do not share any more than you see. I have shown how to list and do some things on my seller account, but again, my key features are blocked out when I show those in videos. It's just the only way to be safe these days. Just like people coming and leaving, negatives, people just go and ding you on Amazon just to be a jerk, just like leaving the thumbs down, even though they're not watching the video. Amazon or YouTube's going to fix it so you have to watch a certain length of it just to be able to thumbs down it. That's one of the things they're working on, too, if you didn't know that. Yeah, Greece was huge. I thought it was, too, when I was a kid. eBay is not slow for me. If I sent out offers, I did 120 offers. We sold 270 some odd bucks worth in just one day, and that's just the extra stuff, not counting the hundreds of dollars worth of stuff we normally sell anyway. Carolina Picks, you can cancel a regular offer. You can retract your offer, but I don't know on the offers to watchers how that works. It might work the same way. I don't know, but I'd have to dig into that one. Everybody wants it free. Well, I don't give anything away for free, so other than advice, I guess. Yeah, I spend time and at least once a week I fix names and add names to the Patreon. At the end of every video, everybody's name who supports the channel is listed in there. I think it's like 231 as of this morning, people who are in my Patreon group. Let's see here. Aaron Baker. Could you talk a bit about international shipping, pitfalls to avoid, countries to avoid, things to not sell internationally? World War II German items never ever send internationally. It's a crime in Germany and many countries in Europe. I don't send anything over £4 any other way than global shipping program. If it's over £4, global shipping program, no matter what. Anything under £4, depending on the country, I'll ship some directly. I'll ship to Canada, England, France, Germany. I added Sweden to the group because Sweden's post office is pretty good. I do Australia, Japan. I want to say I'm missing one other one. France, Germany. I don't ship to Belgium directly. Anything else other than those countries that I mentioned, only I ship through Global Shipping Program. Only. No other means I will ship to those countries because of tracking. Now, I ordered something for the wife for Christmas, and it's lost now for 8 days. Hasn't even shown a tracking. It came from England, which is the first. I've had it do this once before, and it ended up showing up like a month and a half late. No idea why, but that's about the only pitfall I've ever seen. If you use the global shipping program to ship, and it makes it to the eBay facility, and my eBay facility is in Kentucky. The minute it hits eBay scan in Kentucky, I'm free and clear if something gets damaged or it gets lost. eBay has refunded me on several occasions. And if the person wants to leave negative feedback for that happening, eBay will remove that as well, too. And that goes along with the 30-day free returns and stuff like that. If they open a return, they can't leave negative feedback at all on me, which is a good thing too. So that's another thing that I use. But internationally wise, I've been opening up a country here and there and just giving it a shot. There's probably a lot more safer countries to ship to where the tracking shows up from door to door basically, but those are just the ones that I've just felt safe using. I sell a lot to Germany and England. Those are probably my top 2. Japan's probably in the top 3, the third top country I send to. I do send a lot to China through the global shipping program as well. I thought about opening it up. My son orders a lot of electronics, and unfortunately, the only place you can get those, the only place they're even made is in China. So we get a lot of e-packets from China. And in all honesty, I've never had one lost, and all the tracking has always shown up. I've been honestly debating on opening up our listings to China. I just haven't done it. Let me talk about one more thing related to exactly what you're talking about here. I did a video not too long ago on doing research on eBay from other countries. You can go to the Belgian site and look up things there and get it all translated with Google Translate. Somebody asked if they open up their listings for international shipping, does that mean they're going to show up on other eBay sites? The answer is 100% no. You have to go to those individual sites, or you can, eBay had an option pop up where you can list on 6 other country sites for free for like 6 months at a shot or something. I got out of that. I didn't want it to start with, and it was a fiasco. I didn't sign up for it, and somehow the minute I clicked on it, it just automatically accessed my account and made an extra 6,000 listings for me, which I had to spend an hour or two deleting and then deactivating a third-party access to that. So I've been cautious on that. I don't list any of my items from eBay onto international sites. I do on Amazon, though. We're on Canada and I think Mexico as well. Maybe a few other countries as well on Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I've messed with those settings there. Maybe I should go back and look, honestly. But we're going to cut it off here in just a few minutes. I'm already a little farther than I wanted to go. Let's see if I can get to a few more questions here. Yeah, Xanadu wasn't good. Yeah, Rob, I haven't had those issues, Rob G, with eBay. We were doing just fine. It pays our bills without issue. Had my first multi-item buyer, 3 items, while opening to review the first item. eBay said the item listing ended. Had to manually list and ask my customer to resend the offer. Any idea about this? eBay said that the item listing ended. If you send, or somebody's making an offer and it ends, it cancels out, it declines the person's offer. So if they send, a lot of people will send an offer in like the last hour or two, expecting you just to automatically see it and accept it, thinking you got to do it before it ends, and they're going to not see it again, that item. So that I see a lot of people putting in offers at the last minute. I don't honestly go back and mess with those at all. I don't know if you can go back in and check maybe on the ended listing and look. Maybe you can. I don't really know. I just never messed with those. Maybe there's a way to see if the offer's there, but they're going to have to send it back again if it ended before they accept or you accepted the offer. That's the only way you can do it. You're going to have to relist it. I've done that many times, relisted something just so somebody can bid on it. Carolina Picks, what type of lights do you use when filming live? I have just used my camera on my iMac, and the lighting is so dark you can hardly see my face. The camera I'm using is a key plus to the lighting aspect on this in general. I use less lights with the camera that I have now. These are 135 watt. They're like 9-inch bulbs, spiraled bulbs. They're photo studio bulbs. I use only 2 of those to light for this show, and they're in boxes with reflector panels behind them. You can get them on eBay, a pair of them, for like $20 or something. I think they come from a company called Lights of America, the better ones, and they're full spectrum lights, and they're continuous. You want continuous light. You don't want anything that's interrupted, because it'll create a flicker and can interact with your camera in a bad way. Excuse me. So continuous lights, I think, again, 135 watt, 25 to $30 shipped. But you can buy a whole Lime Studio, I think is Limo Studio or something like that. I just have some cheapo stand-up lights. I've got like 4 sets of lights, though. All use the exact same bulbs, too. But my Sony A6400 is the camera that does the best. This is the best camera I've ever had, and that helps with the lighting and everything else. It does wonders, and it has the reverse-facing screen, and everything else. So, lighting isn't, it's more than just lighting. I had a 4K high-def Brio before this. I still have it here. I might sell it, but the Brio, and that's like one of the best webcams, and this thing just eats that away. It's a joke if you compare the two. Quality and everything. And again, lighting, you got to have them correct. I've got green screen behind me, so I've got one side light that lights up behind me, and then another light that's in front of me, and that's it. And it's 5 feet away from me. I know I could probably get a ring light or something like that, but I'm happy with the way it's looking now. I used to have that haze around the green screen effect on it, which I hated. But this camera it's almost totally gone. From right now, I don't see any haze at all on the image here on the screen. Let me see where we got. Let me just get a couple more questions here. Carl, at an auction, most of the time it's called choice. You can take one or all of the price. I've seen people that think they get them all at that too. Yeah, I've seen that too. Choice is another thing. Now, choice or all are two different terms. When they're saying like for at, if they say for at something, that's $4 or that's 4 items at. If they say like 11 for 4 or something like that, you got to pay attention because most of the auctioneers I've seen all have different cues. Now, choice is usually one of the terms they use if you don't have to buy them all. So if they say choice, you don't have to buy them all. But if it's for, just using the word for, all, or at, any of those terms, though, you're pretty much buying them all at that price. It just depends on what type of auction. Listen for the word choice. It's a good one there, Carl said. Choice is always the best way because if there's 20 items on the table, you only have to take the one you want. You have to at least take one if you're saying you want choice on it. You can pick whichever you want. So let's say you're the highest bidder for choice at $100. You can take all of them for $100 or just the one for $100 that you want. The next time around, he'll say for second choice, who wants to after this? And it'll start the bidding off again. It might only go up to $60 the second time around. So instead of $100, it's going to be $60 for the second shot. And then somebody has choice at $60 for whatever's left on the table. And it goes down till they're gone, or he decides to pass on the rest of them, and they'll hold them off to the end of the auction or whatever the case may be. I've been to a couple hundred auctions, live auctions, maybe more than that, maybe 500 or 600 live auctions in my day. I've been to a lot of them. I've been to 2 in the same night. I've been to auctions that run 8 hours long, that have 2 lines, meaning there's 2 auctioneers running consecutively in different areas on the same property. I've seen 3 auctioneers running at the same time. And I've also been to places where it's a weekend worth. They start Friday auctions and they run Saturday and Sunday, the same location, the same liquidation. There may be 2 and 3 lines, and there may be 2 sets of 2 and 3 lines. So like at noon, all the morning lines end. So there'll be 3 auctioneers auctioning stuff. They'll end. They'll break for an hour, or they might not even break. 3 new auctioneers or 2 new auctioneers will come in, and they'll run 2 more lines until the evening. Some of the auctions around here start at 4, and if it's a good auction, I may not get out of there till 11:30. When you go to an auction too, you need to know what the carrying aspect of it is. Some of the auctions I go to, I take boxes with me, or bags, or totes. You don't want to leave stuff sitting around. If you get up from your chair, you might come back and find some of your items missing. I've seen it so many times. And I always carry a box or take some boxes and bags into the establishment if they don't have them there. Some will keep boxes for you, but when you win it, and most of the auction houses I go to, you take the item right then and there. They've already got your charge card, your driver's license. You don't pay for it. The police are going to show up. They validate you. They scan your card here, your driver's license, through the state. So if there's something going on with your driver's license, somebody could show up for you. Just FYI, on some of them here. At least I would imagine that's the case because they always scan the card, your driver's license, to validate it. So anyway, you don't be screwing around at the auction houses. In my book, you don't get banned from them. They can make your whole business. You can live off of auctions, and I know people who do that. They go to a ton of auctions, way more than I would want to go to, but let's see. I have a lot of drop shippers buy my items this year. Carolina Picks, I have people buy my stuff for resale. I don't care. I don't care. As long as I get what I want out of them and I'm making a good profit, I don't care if somebody else doubles their money off my items. I got what I wanted. I'm happy with my return. And if they're making money, chances are they're going to keep coming back. So I give people discounts just for return shopping. It makes them want to come back. And I'll take offers from certain people that I wouldn't take from other people because they buy so much from me. There's some people that I constantly will, give them lower than anybody else just because I see them every week. There's people, geez, I could give you a list, a whole page of people that buy from our store every single month, over and over and over and over again. But again, I'm in so many niches that I've got all these items. I've got, thousands of things in there. Right now, we're building up our sheet music. I'm going to have probably another 1,500 up, hopefully in the next, like, say, 10 or so days of just sheet music up through the 2 stores I have them in. And we've gotten some movement on it. So, if you've seen some of the What Sold videos, those in Patreon have seen, a couple $100 worth of sheet music sell just from minor labor spent on it. So, our live auctions often do your choice for multiple items. Yeah, it just depends on the auction. You just got to be very careful on the auction. Again, thank you very, Gary Lighton. eBay, I think there are 3 people only shopping. It depends on what you sell, Rob. That's all I can tell you. 350 million people. I sell stuff constantly. This is, again, my busiest month ever on any platform ever. I mean, anywhere. This is it. This is the best I've ever done in sales anywhere in my life. Yeah, Carl's killing it too. I'm telling you, it just depends on what you sell. And again, there's people that have 3 items that make thousands of dollars a week. So it depends on what you sell. That's all I can tell you. It depends on how well you know your store, how well you can play the field, your keywords, your three top things. Your photo has to be great, your keywords and title has to be great, and the price has to be right. Those are the 3 things that matter the most. Yeah, again, it all goes back to what you're selling. I am averaging, Carolina Picks, 45 items sold a day right now with 1,700 listings. It depends on what you have. And everybody worries about how much items they're selling. I could sell a $10,000 item every week and not have to worry about selling anything else other than that one item. It depends on what you sell. Wholesale is great. Listing on one listing and having a couple thousand of something is awesome if it's moving, like on Amazon or something. Again, it all comes down to ranking and what you're selling. There's no right or wrong way for any specific person. It all comes down to what you sell, what your store is, and how well you know your own business. That's what I can tell you for sure. Yeah, time is everything. Scott is correct. Everything comes down to time for us. Clint Dixon, how are you doing? RV there yet? How are you doing? I have never seen Star Wars. I'm now 53, so weird. Just worked out that way. I've never seen Backdraft, if that helps you. I know everybody else I know have seen it. There's some other movies. I haven't seen any of the new James Bond movies, and I loved James Bond. After Roger Moore stopped doing James Bond, I was done with James Bond, in all honesty. Yeah, I love the original Star Wars when it first came out. Yeah, I just couldn't get into Carl, the Rogue One, or any of the new ones. I'm sorry, I just couldn't get into it. I don't know what it is about any of that new stuff. Just like the Marvel and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I love The Dark Knight, so don't get me wrong. I love movies like that, but that to me was dark and stuff. I liked what's the other one? The Shadow with Alec Baldwin. That was good. I know it's kind of corny, but he did the part so well. If they could do a Dark Knight version of The Shadow, that would be awesome in my book. That would be a movie to see for sure. I can't even tell you the last movie we even saw, a new one anyway. Mark C. I always wanted to ask you, what items are too... Oh, I think I already got to that one. Sorry. Rob G. Dude, I have less than 400 items in my store, and my 60-day total is $2,002. I'm not killing it, but I'm not experiencing what you're describing. It's all about what you list. Yep, that's definitely the case. I mean, you guys have seen stores that or my sales. I've had 3,000 plus. We've done like 7,000 or close to 7,000, I think, in one day before. It depends on what you have. If I list a bunch of items, I sell some that day. Yeah, Matt Damon, I'm sorry. Yeah, my brain's dead, Tommy Z. I just watched part of that actually today. It was playing while we were working, actually. See, I do like the new Star Trek, the 3 new Star Trek movies. Those are really good in my book. Beyond is good too. And unfortunately, they're not doing a 4th one. That's the series that I like. They're going to put somebody else into it, and it's not going to sync. The Captain Kirk was great. The guy who played Spock is great. The guy, I know Chekhov has passed away, but everybody in the show was pretty good in my book. That was the best Star Trek of the new age, in my opinion. The last three, just awesome. The first one was just great. It's like one of my favorite movies of this age for sci-fi movies is the new Star Trek. Anyway. Yeah, I don't even know what Spider-Man Homecoming is. Andre Valdez, how are you doing? Yeah, I don't watch much. I'll have to give you one of my bad vices. We still watch MTV's The Challenge, believe it or not. It's about the only show. I'm not like a big fan of the people, but I like the events. I liked Fear Factor to some extent too. That I can't believe people would do that for the money. Is I would never do any of that stuff, but more power to them. Clint Dixon, do you critique other sellers' stores? In my Patreon group, I'm randomly picking. We've already done one. I got another one I've almost finished now for critique in stores. And I'm going to do one in there randomly every like 3 weeks or something, I'm thinking. I used to have a fee, and I've had many people ask that, where I would have a special fee on Patreon where you could have that. I don't have time to type up 30 minutes worth of a critique, in all honesty, and that was my issue. I used to have a consulting for 30 minutes. It was $45, and I did have quite a few people doing it, but I didn't have the time. It goes right back into time. I know $45, that's $90 an hour to most people, but I can make more than that just messing around on eBay, in all honesty, or picking something up and swapping something. My time has gotten to be pretty darn valuable to me anyway. I'm not saying I'm worth a ton of money or anything. I'm just saying that I don't never have enough time in the day. And with the kids and all, I do them for a video on Patreon now. I'm going to do critiques as long as people are happy and they send me a name, their store name, in Patreon. I've done a couple here on YouTube, but it's been like a year maybe since I've done one. Again, I don't want to out anybody and have somebody mad if I do one on here. I'm very open on Patreon about what I will or won't discuss, and I'm very open and business oriented. So in the past, I've had people say, that was a little upsetting the way you said it, but I'm very blunt. This is money. It has nothing to do with personal atmosphere when I do one too. So it's one reason I don't want to put it out here for everybody to see. And if the person's not happy with it, and again, I don't have the time to be on the phone. I get asked probably 3 times just today. Somebody's asked me either for a mentorship, a critique, or something along that line. And again, I canceled the phone call critique on Patreon, and had to tell people I wasn't going to do it anymore, just because of time. And there was some people that said if I offered again, they'll be on again. I just don't know if I can figure out how to get the time in there for that. I know there's a bunch of other YouTubers that make a ton of money. I'm not looking to make money off of critiquing you, in all honesty. It'd be a lot easier for some people to just talk on a phone and tell you what to do than sit here and try to do it. I sell. That's what I am. I'm a seller. And I just don't know if I want to go down that route again. I wouldn't want to be responsible if somebody did the wrong thing and were upset and all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to keep my liabilities down and my time where I need it the most, which is my own personal business. I'd love to help everybody and be able to do those phone conversations. I have been going back and forth about having like a get-together at there's a free conference room you can get at the library here that I've been debating on maybe, setting something up. But everybody lives so far away, and time and all that kind of stuff. It's not going to be till after my son's final MRI, if I could even do that now, until after Christmas and the beginning of the year. So that's about the only thing I was interested in doing. Carl Bach, Mandalorian rocks too. Now I've heard that, but I won't sign up for Disney just for that. Unfortunately, we do. We've been Prime forever, so I've got all the Prime movies, and we rent online. And I've got a Hulu and a Netflix, and we don't get Netflix to the house. If it's not streamable, we don't do it. We don't even do Redbox anymore. I hardly ever watch anything, honestly. It's just the way it's been. Again, the challenge is about the only thing. I like Shark Tank. That's one of the ones. And I liked Dragon Den, which is where Shark Tank came from. It was a British show called Dragon's Den, and that came before Shark Tank, and Shark Tank's just the American version of Dragon's Den. I do like that, but it's all scripted these days, and I don't like all the guest sharks and stuff. That does nothing for me. Cuban's fine. Mr. Wonderful's fine. Um, Most of them are fine. I mean, the old school ones. Damon, I like Damon a lot. And I can't. Barbara, I like. And the QVC lady, I don't like at all. She's just a scammer as far as in my book. Not a scammer. She's more like a. She just likes to buy people's patents and stuff. I don't know. I know it's venture capitalists and all that stuff, and it's just not my thing. She's the only one that I'm not a big fan of. But Barbara, I like. I like the fact that most of those folks worked their way up from nothing, and I respect that. I guess. I'm a self-made man. Everything we've earned. Every single thing. No one can ever say that I was given anything, because every single piece of anything I own, down to my socks, I paid for every dime of it. Every single thing. All my cars, everything. I don't take out loans. Everything, if it's in cash, is the only way I buy anything. I don't take out loans or anything else at all. Maybe when we get a warehouse or something, I'll have to worry about something, but usually it's just cash. Even if it's a car, I'm going to pay in cash. Yeah, I probably wouldn't mess with it. Yeah, I've had several people say that about The Mandalorian. Yeah, Amazon Seller 99 is talking about Star Wars 2. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. Jar Jar Binks was like the worst. I wasn't a fan of Yoda either, though, or the Ewoks. That kind of killed it. Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff that we used to watch Breaking Bad. I liked Breaking Bad. There's not many shows, though, that I said Eastbound and Down I liked, and they canceled that. Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell. That got stupid. I like weird shows, I guess. Most people don't like it. I liked Tom Green when he was around, and we used to watch Jackass. But of course, I lived in Florida, and they filmed right out by our house, and we ran into those guys all the time in Windermere. Lake Windermere is where they filmed a lot of that stuff out that way. But I better cut it off. We're getting late here, and I've been talking way longer than I said I would, so I do apologize. Again, I'm going to have another video coming up here on this channel, maybe Sunday, and I'm going to answer a bunch of questions that are down below in the comment section. Random questions across. I know two of my people have pulled out. I think I got like 50 different questions, and I'm just going to pick some random ones out of there. They've already cut and pasted a snippet of those questions for us. So we're going to do that, and I'll have another video here, and I'm going to try and do those kind of videos here on YouTube. Like every 2 or 3 weeks, I'll do one. If I get a lot more questions, I'll do a lot more of those. So if you don't get a chance to come on live and you still want some of your questions asked, or answered, I should say, leave some comments below any of the videos here, because I'm going to go back in, well, not me per se, but people are going to go back in and pull those up for me, and I will answer them. Again, I have people that do certain things. I can't edit some of the videos because I get motion sickness from the direct GoPro cam videos. So anyway, but again, we do have a Christmas special coming up soon, hopefully next Thursday at 8, again, tentatively. Again, leave some comments, questions, or something you want to know, and I'll try to get to them the best I can. And hopefully you have a good day, and good to see you on tonight. Best of luck to everybody.